Hello, everyone. This is Mike Szymanski at Angel MD, along with Kathy Bonchek, and welcome to our third conversation. We hope you've enjoyed the first two, and if you haven't seen them, definitely go back and check it out. Some great stuff there. With this session, we'd like to talk a little bit more about messaging. So staying on message, being the message versus the messenger, and some other aspects of how do you get across your goal, and what is your goal even. So let's start with that, Kathy. It's like, when we go into a meeting, very often we say we have a goal for this meeting, but we don't have just one, do we?
Well, I have to say, usually when I'm brought in to do some pitch consulting or pitch coaching with an actual team, one of my first exercises is we start with audience analysis. Who's in the room? Who are we talking to? Who's the decision maker? I mean, that's the fundamental starting point. But the very next place I go is, let's go around the room and everyone tell me what the objective of this meeting is. And I'll point my hand at them and ask, and if I don't hear a harmonious answer, then I know we're in trouble. So we have to be aiming at least in the same direction. And that doesn't mean you don't have variables or more than one thing you want to accomplish, but there's an overall sense of what you want your audience to think, to do, or to feel at the end of this presentation or this meeting. And it really has to be articulated. And we don't often stop and do that well enough in my observation and in my coaching of others. And so for me, I like to linger there. And then I always say to my clients, you have this business objective. This is the one that we share with each other and we talk about, but I want everybody to also have a personal objective, to go into every presentation or meeting with a sense of that you are furthering your own brand, your own business self. And we have the ability to create what that is every single time we show up. And if you say, I want them to see me as an innovator, I want them to see me as the person who's the idea creator, then you're going to present differently than if I want them to see me as the accountant who gets every number right and crosses every T and dots every I. Those are different styles. We all have ranges that we can present. And so I think that's a really important part. And I always say that if you want to figure out what your brand is, then imagine someone like me coming up to a colleague and saying, tell me about Mike. Give me 5 words to describe Mike. And I love that 5-word exercise because it's such a crystallization of what we really want to say. And I have people give me their 5 words all the time. And very often I can tell in the 5 words, you're going to be a leader, you're not, just because of the words you chose.
Now you say that feels more of a corporate exercise in the sense that I have the outcome that I want for my company and then the outcome that I want for me, as if they're differentiated. But a lot of our entrepreneurs are founder entrepreneurs in the sense that many times their identity is their company. Is that still the case? Like, do they have this exercise that they can do for themselves as well? Or should we say they're the same at that point?
No, I think there is a difference. I think you can be the person who's founded a company and it's your baby and you love it and you want it to resonate, but there is a part of you that must be distinct from it, which is what made you the person who could create this idea. Because you might have other companies in your future. You might have other ideas that will manifest later that will be separate from this particular episode.
An excellent point. So this is this product or this therapeutic or this device that we're bringing right now, but there still is an identity that is me. And actually, when you think about it, and if I'm interviewing a company, like if I'm interviewing a company during a pitch, I'm also worried about what is the character of the management team. And this is what we're talking about. Is he a high energy? Is he detail oriented? What is he? And there's no necessarily right answer, but there is an answer where you need to stay on brand. How do you want to be known as the management of that company?
That's right. And also, how do they interact with each other? So maybe you have a team that is perfectly balanced. One who's the innovator, one who's the staid, corrector, one who is the. I mean, we do this. If we do it well, we have teams. Not everybody can be great in everything, but you want to know the thought went into it or how they are gelling.
So we talk about the message versus the messenger. And how do you determine that? Like, what is it that you're actually thinking about when you go into a meeting for that purpose? If I'm going to self-coach.
What do I think? Well, the first thing I think about going into a meeting is I've already done preparation. So I don't go into a meeting without thinking about what is the overall message I want to, because I have to be nimble. Mm-hmm. So I'm in complete observation mode in every meeting, but I have this back story that I want to deliver about my product, my company. And while I'm doing that, I'm always want them to have a sense of who they're dealing with, because I'm trying to show up authentically as Kathy, no matter what I'm talking about, always. And so if I brand myself as honest and creative and powerful and the next best in this particular industry, then I want them to see that as I'm speaking, but that's sort of tangential to the message being clearly delivered as well. So you're thinking on all sorts of levels. I'm also watching them in terms of, are they receiving my message? Did I see a quizzical brow? Do I have to stop and ask a question or let them question me? Did I not make a point? Did I come on too strong unintentionally because I was so excited about something? Because you know, if you don't have rapport at the beginning, it doesn't mean you can't end a meeting in harmony with a group or a team.
Got it. So this almost goes back to our original quadrant analysis of communication styles. So know which style you fit into and how you are. Own the best parts of that brand as you go in, because you're not going to be able to deny it. It's going to come out eventually. So if you're analytical, be analytical. Just try to play up the best parts of it while being open to these other communication skills.
But let me clarify, Mike, because one is a communication style.
Yeah.
And so I can communicate in any one of the 4 quadrants. So I can be Kathy, the driver, Kathy, the expressive, Kathy, the amiable, or Kathy, the analytical. But what doesn't change is the heart of who Kathy is. That's my brand. And my brand is what you get in terms of my level of interest, engagement, intelligence, expertise, authenticity, honesty, all the things that you might use to describe yourself. And you have to be in touch with that, which are the important ones that are going to impact this business and this meeting the most.
And in many ways, that is what you said, you used the word authenticity. I think authenticity is about owning yourself and knowing that brand going in. That's what makes you come across as authentic. It's when you start to try to deny that self-reality that we come across as what we call salesman-y, as in the sense that somehow they're just telling me whatever I want to hear.
Or at best, you come across as uncomfortable. And that doesn't read well, no matter what you're doing.
True.
Yes.
Very well. So when we stay on brand for our self, does that make it easier for us to stay on brand for our purpose, do you think, or are they completely differentiated items?
I'm not sure I would completely differentiate them, but I do think that you are always branding your company when you're speaking about it and you're out in the world. And you should be embodying the very things that the company stands for through the lens of you. And so I think of them as separate, but it's still it's your role, it's your job, it's your love, if you've created the company, to make sure that the message of the company is equally branded. And I don't go into a meeting and start telling you how honest and wonderful and amazing I am as a person. I'm hoping to show you that as far as you know, as I'm doing this, are the things that the language I use and the way I talk about my team and the company brand should give you some sense of that. But I would probably put a priority to what I articulate out loud on the company version of that message. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're trying to sell your company. You want people to remember you, and you want yourself to come across as authentic because you knew who you were.
Yes.
But in reality, if we're going to talk about those 3 things that they need to walk away with, they shouldn't be walking away with, Kathy was great because this, this, and this. It should be, I want to work with Kathy because she can teach me this, this, and this. Right?
I felt like I had a great partnership potential with Kathy, but the company, wow. What it's going to do in the world because of this, this, and this.
Yeah, I really like working with Mike. I hope we can work with him in the future. But what I really want to do is for them to work with me now.
Yes.
You know, so in terms of priority set, we're definitely going to be staying on topic for the company and the brand first.
Yes, but what I love about this conversation, Mike, is that giving some thought to it is, I think, the really important step, because people tend to not think about it as if just a perfect presentation is going to make it all magically happen. But when you imbue it with care and thought and intention, it just becomes so much more seamless.
Yeah, excellent point. Excellent point. Well, with that, I'm going to add this session. I hope everybody has had a great time and learned a lot. I'm going to be speaking with Kathy one more time about these topics, and I hope you join us.